Alright guys, how's it going? Another PvP heritage update. So actually I've taken a lot of steps back now and I've completely rewritten the game from scratch. Uh, this was to help me optimize what I've done so far based on the knowledge I've gained and get out a lot of old stuff that was just clogging up the project. And as well, I was having a lot really heavy compile times, and after rebuilding it now I get smooth compile times. Before I was getting about 20 millisecond compile times, which is just ridiculous because you're just sitting there waiting forever. Now I get about 3,000 millisecond compile times on the lowest classed blueprint, the first parent class. So that's a big improvement for my development. Also, I've fixed a whole bunch of everything and optimized, and there's no art in the project right now, but I get about 400 frames just running around, and I can get a whole bunch of AI moving around, and I don't get any hit to frames whatsoever. So, and that's about as far as I got so far, as I got everything moving like it was before. I still need to put the jump pathing over and the group behavior. Last time I hadn't showed it, but I have a group behavior where the AI will group up and move around and do things based off of how many team members are in the area or how many enemies are in the area. So right now you're seeing them just moving around, not getting stuck, and basically more of a combat movement. They're strafing around and rolling and staying a distance away and moving farther in if they need to. And yeah, I really like the way it's turning out. I'm glad I did a rebuild. It's helped a lot, and I'll go into the editor in a little bit and show you what it all looks like. It's after everything. Before I had a lot of the events closed up into subgraphs, and now I have everything exposed. So I'll show you just how big this project has become in the programming and blueprints alone. So right now you can see they're running, dodging, rolling. And I wanted to show off this new feature to the basic attack system. So I wanted to put a little more interest in just using a basic attack. And before it was just you just tap and cast, and that was no fun. It gets old, right? So now I have a dynamic system where you can charge up your attack, and you can see that as I charge it up on the bottom of the screen, there's a bar that increases, and once it's full, it'll fire off the attack. So it's an auto cast at the end. And you can see that if I just tap it, I'll fire a small sphere. And then if I charge it up, it fires a big sphere. And that's all just for visual purposes to show you the dynamics of the charge, that I'm able to see how much of a charge has gone on and do different things based off that. So right now just the sphere is scaling up based off of the charge percentage. Yeah. So that'll be fun to work with, and it'll work really good for melee, so you're not just in there slashing around. You can actually, heavy attack and, light attack at your needs. And also I can show you that the ability system's all working. You can charge it up, and there's a uncharged state and a charged state. And when you fire it, it deducts the mana accordingly. So yeah, it's all working good. Major frame change. Major build optimization, everything's working really good. I'm really happy I've done that. So now let's take a step back into the editor, and I'll just spawn a bunch of these guys so you can see how many I can get without really starting to hit frames. Right now I'm starting to get a frame hit of 6 frames, and I have about 20 guys running around doing all these really heavy calculations. Well, they're not too heavy, but once you get in the editor, you'll see how much is going on per character. Right now I'm staying pretty solid at 120 frames with Fraps running, and I believe I have the editor open, and this is at 1080p. I can go to 1440. Yep, no difference in 1440. So even though there's no art, it's good to know that there's no loss in frames from any of the blueprints firing off. All right, let's go into the blueprints and see how big it is, and you can get a sense for why I'm so pumped about these frames based off of what these guys are doing. Okay, now we're in the editor. So let's see, I have a new structure of blueprints. Okay, so start with the base. This is the very first class. It's the camera manager. I've decided to put that at the very bottom because I don't want to keep compiling it as I recompile my parent classes. So I've started putting stuff that is pretty much fully built and doesn't need to change at the bottom, so I don't have to, hit compile. And if I hit compile on the camera manager, it runs through all these subclasses, so it saves a lot of time. So I'll be in the manager is the lowest class, and when I compile, I'm getting only, let's see, 4,500 milliseconds, which is really good compared to what it was. So yeah, this is what makes the camera work. So let's go into the base class. This has to do with all the movement and a lot of just the fundamentals of making a character play. All the mainly input and whatnot. So you can see it's pretty big. Yeah, it gets bigger. Okay. Let's go into the combat. This is right above it. This is where all the magic happens with the combat system. Okay, all the events for dead now. Every time a character dies, I clear all my timers. This is a big improvement. So I'm controlling my timers better. This is just for primary fire. That's just if you hit the fire button. Yep. I mean, it's pretty big. So yep, these are the abilities. And here's the, I've made one solid function for all the abilities, just to clean everything up and make it more visually appealing to myself, and it's easier for me to not get lost, and if I ever need to go back and check on something, it's really easy for me to read. Yeah, this is just for using an ability. Alright, there's more ability stuff. Yeah, it's huge. Okay, let's go back to damage now. This is where all the information for damage is worked through. Different types of damage. I've also done a new, I've worked on the slow damage and fire damage, and now they can stack, and that was pretty tough, pretty cool to build. So it's based off an array, and once one ability falls off, it doesn't affect the timers of the other. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but yeah, it's a really cool thing. It's for damage. Here's the main. This is kind of small. I was going to do a lot more in this, but it didn't work out that way. I just built more on the base, and it's not a bad thing though. This is mainly for, so far, regeneration and for kills and deaths, scorekeeping. Alright, that's all for just the player side. Let's go to the AI. So now here's the base class of AI. And this is mainly where all the variables for AI is stored. So I store the variables in here. And I do all the work on the next blueprint we'll look at. So yeah, that's mainly the blueprints for the AI. And there's some functions and stuff, and I use those in the other one. But this is just to initialize AI and check if they are AI or not. And then here's the main for the AI. Just close up these because they bug me. Alright, here we are. Here's makes the AI move around. Some more timers get cleared on dead, so they're not running old movement calculations. This is for the this is what moves them and decides how they should be moving at when this gets called. Here's some more stuff, This is for moving to, strafing. Yeah, so when they strafe, they have to decide which way. So this is how they decide which way. Wait, no, that one. Set strafe rotation. Yep, that's how they choose a route to go. And this is for retracing. This was one I had a while ago. Now this one got pretty big, but I needed to fine tune it and make it work a little better. So I'll show you how big this one's pretty insane. This is for the rerouting. So it's pretty big. So say they bump into a wall, well, they're going to want to find a new direction, and this is how they find the new direction they can move in, but the direction has to be in a way where they won't hit anything else, so that's how they do this. Okay. Backing up, rolling, Yep, and that's pretty much the extent of it. Those are placeholders for when I get more into combat specific classes. I can show you now. Oh, that's animation. Now here's the mage. This is a character side work, and you'll see that everything now runs off of parent. So when I go to make a new character, it's super simple. I don't have as much, I barely have any work to do. It'll all be focused on animation and making cool abilities and whatnot, because all the foundation is made in those earlier blueprints you saw. And so you can see everything that happens in this is all ran off parent. So I don't have any custom events really in here. None. And it's important too, because when I go to make a new character, they're going to have a different animation. So, you know, I got to cast to the specific animation they are. So it's really easy. All I got to do, come in here, change the casts to the animation graph that is specific to that character. And that's really it to make a new character. Other than that, I'll just be down here writing out character specific abilities. And these all run off parent too. So I have made it very easy for me to expand my characters. It's little work. It's all going to be focused on making cool abilities, which is exactly what I want. Take all the hard work out of it. And that's what that was in those previous blueprints. Okay, animation. So this is where the animation event is. Let's see. Yep, okay. So this is what makes them move and whatnot. And again, this is easy to just duplicate and set the new mesh and all the new animations up. Yeah, really simple stuff now. I'm glad I've optimized my rebuild to not only make the game run smoother, but also better my workflow. So the work that needs to be done is a lot simpler. Is basically the end of what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. That's as far as I've gotten, and I don't know if this will play. Let's go ahead and play. I don't know if you see me playing, but I'm just going to spawn one AI, and let's watch some of this stuff tick. Specifically, the reroute. Okay, so now when I go to reroute, you can see this is the AI graph running. I don't know if you can see those lines firing off, but you'll notice here's the movement graph. So there's a constant tick coming in. Where is it coming from? And this is the can move. So you can see I'm not running anything constantly. The tick gets called, and it just switches their move calculations on what kind of movement they're going to do. So you notice right here specifically, this isn't firing off all the time. That's where it breaks. And this is the can move check. And if any of these are going off, that means he's moving currently, so it won't let it pass. But once he's finished a move, then it'll fire off another one, come through here, choose one of these based off certain parameters. All these will be different. These are placeholders. Let me see if I can find one. Target in range. Yeah, so here's one to see if the target's in range, if they should move to the target or back up from the target. And that's kind of how I do all my movement calculation for the AI. Let's find this wall trace reroute. Alright, let's wait for this to fire off. Might take a second. Yep, there it goes. Alright, so you can see this thing isn't super heavy. It's just made to have a lot of different outputs. Potentially a lot of different outputs. This could probably be rewritten one more time based off of what I know, and I could do it a lot more dynamic to where it doesn't need to call as many booleans specifically. That's why I had to do it, is because it's hard to explain, but yeah, I go off different directions, and I could do this dynamically later. But yeah, let's watch it fire off. So when he's backing up, it just shoots through once. Sometimes it'll have to loop around a little bit, but it doesn't bog the system down. And like I showed you, I could have up to 20 AI running, and they're all running really smooth. No hit to frames. That's a lot. 20? I mean, I don't think I'd play a match with more than you know, with more than 12 AI. So yeah, good functionality. And like I said, this is I just started over, and now I'm doing a solid build for optimization work and everything. And I'll show you one more thing that I've been working on with Rama. Alright, here we are in a different project, which is used to build this new functionality I'm working on, which I'll explain now. So how the game is set up is it'll have, well, I should say, okay, say you're in the level and you're in a room. Well, that room needs to be justified to the AI. So I'm using a box, and it's called a region. And all these boxes I have right here represent different rooms per se, okay? So I'll hit simulate, and you can get a better visualization. So that line drawn is a line that connects all the rooms together. You'll see these aren't connected, so this is basically, should be a wall right here in front of me, okay? And so the point of this is to make a level traversal functionality. So to show off what I mean, here is a red sphere. This is the goal. And what I'll do is I'll spawn an AI anywhere in one of these regions, and I'm trying to map out a path to that goal. So right here is you can see it worked. Dropped an AI in that box, and now these yellow squares represent the path it would take to get to the goal. Now where I go from here is I want to find multiple paths, potentially multiple paths, right? And then I want them to decide a random path, because I don't want the AI always moving in the same direction. And as a player, I'm sure you wouldn't want to see that either. You want more of a challenge, and you wouldn't really want to be able to read what the AI would do as much. So, you know, say there was a shortcut from this here, you know, to here. I'd want the AI to be able to take advantage of that shortcut. And what we've decided to do is write this all in C++, and it's all going to be multi-threaded, so because it might get pretty heavy once the levels are big enough. There'll be a lot of traversing going on, and it can only get bigger. So this is all written in C++. Let's drop another one here, and you'll see he paths over there. He did that path correct. And I'll drop one right here. Let me just respawn. Now I'll drop one right here. This far one, you can see he'll have to go around this way. I drop him in, he's able to traverse his way to the sphere. So yeah, that's what this is about, and boring stuff, but it's really important for the long run. And again, this is all written in C++. So this isn't blueprints. This is real code. Alright, thanks for watching, guys.